second race, which takes us to the Canadian Grand Prix. And in all honesty, it's my favourite track, so it should provide some of my favourite action. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box for this one is the lovely Mr. Graham Chappell. Graham, it's good to finally meet you. Looking forward to tonight's race?
Good evening, sir. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Canada is always a fun track. Encourages good racing, and I'm looking forward to seeing lots of that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously there's going to be a mix of knowledge between all of the drivers. You'll know some, I'll know some. Both of us might know neither, but there's a few names I already recognise here in tonight's racing. It's always going to be a little bit of a struggle for these drivers when they head into a social race, because there's that mix of they want to go racing, but they don't want to basically give away how much pace they actually have. So when you come into a race like this, how do you approach it?
Well, I was in the one on Tuesday. For me, I went into it, I just wanted to assess where I was at. So for me, I didn't hold any sandbags on, I didn't hold back. I wanted to really see where I stood against the rest of the competition. I think that's what a lot of these drivers might be looking to do tonight. Look, there'll always be one or two that they may see where they're at and decide, oh, I don't want people to know I have this much pace, so they might maybe lull them into a false sense of security. But I do think that's where most people will stand. They want to just assess where they're at, assess who they might be fighting as the season prepares to get underway in a few weeks.
Absolutely. And Graham, you're going to be commentating over the Division 4 of TT Masters League. You're also going to be driving in the F2 League, which is different from Division 2 because it's actually in the F2 cars. So are you looking forward to that one mainly?
Absolutely. I got into Formula 2 at the end of last season with TTL, and that was really good fun. I had a lot of fun racing those guys, and it was just really enjoyable. So I'm really looking forward to doing more of that as as the weeks head on, because I love Formula 2, and there's just something special there. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's really fun.
Well, having a look at tonight's lineup, obviously we've got 20 drivers scheduled here for tonight. We have in the Mercedes, we have Chubbs and Caesar, I believe that's how you pronounce it. You've got an all-Norwegian lineup in the Ferraris of Freaky Skills and Isotopic. In the Red Bulls, you've got a Dutchman in 0-0, and also you've got Cam in the second seat as well. You've got Charlie and Storm in the McLarens, Venom and Kiki there in the Racing Point, Pazels and Sway in the Alfa Romeos, Vic Mill and Kelvin in the Renault, Dame, I think that is Dame Les. I just noticed the S at the end. But
I think he's coming as DeMiles.
DeMiles, okay. Oh, that's interesting. And you've also got J. Cole in the second Haas car. You got Kieran Trapp and Jono in the Alpha Tauri. That's going to be a one that catches us out this season. And then in the Williams, you've got Shumi and AJU. So pretty mixed lineup. There's a couple of names I recognise there. I recognise the Belgian in Pazels. He used to race in TTL quite a few seasons ago, and it's good to see him come back into competitive racing. I mean, let's just face it, any of these drivers could be in any of the divisions. There's 5 divisions going along, Graham. I mean, we've got 100 drivers pretty much in this to try and race against each other. When we got the evaluation next week, that's going to be a tough... I wouldn't want to be a fly on the wall in deciding who goes where in each division when you've got 100 drivers to go through.
And some drivers are very set on where they feel they should be, and if they find themselves in a division where they don't feel, maybe they feel too slow, that can be a pretty tough start to the season before it's even begun for some of those drivers, because some of this does come personal. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward. It's a brand new game, which always promotes some sort of teething issue, whether it's driver, whether it's anything else that's involved in it. But more importantly, it's to help the drivers get used to that. I'm sure they put so many laps into this new game to prepare themselves for a brand new season, but it's all well and good you practicing without the pressure. When it comes to the evaluation next week, that is when the pressure is going to be piled on, and will you be able to deliver that same pace that you did in all of your pre-seasons and all of the social races? So getting to grips with the racing is going to be key here tonight.
Absolutely, and like I said, the pressure is off. People could go in, they can enjoy themselves, but then next week, as you say, the pressure does ramp up because there's a very much a pressure to perform. And I would even say for people, sometimes even a pressure maybe not to perform in some ways if they, again, have their minds and their hearts set on a particular division. Not to be encouraged, of course, but that is just the reality as drivers head into it.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the chat before we get started as well. We got Joe Corboy giving us a wave. Hello, Joe. Welcome along. You got Storm in the chat there saying good evening. Maze giving us lots of checkered flags. It's not over yet, Maze. Hopefully, it's only just started. Recon saying Tom on the graphics. Absolutely, he is on the graphics. He will be with us for the next season as well. So it's great to see him back. Great to see that our streams are going to be a little bit more professional, Graham, going forward, especially with Tom behind the scenes there. Giving his magic on the stream as well. Chubbs saying F for him in the chat. Not even started yet, Chubbs, so that's good looking forward. J Cole saying good J Cole saying good evening. Good old Unai Emery greeting there. Recon says Cubs want to see that 8.9. Well, I mean 108.9 around a track like Canada going to be a little bit tricky, but you know, you never know. You never know what could happen. Recon saying hello to me. Don't forget about Graham as well, Recon. Give him a wave as well. So, but yeah, so Graham is going to be the new Division 4 commentator. I'm going to be in Division 1, not to just toot my own horn or anything, but I'm going to be along there with James. But Graham's also going to be racing in the TTML F2 league, not to be confused with Division 2. It's going to be a little bit difficult to distinguish between the two, but there we go. Hopefully we're not too far away from some racing action. We've got 16 drivers in the lobby as it stands right now. Don't forget as well, perfect time to tell you this, don't forget to follow the new league on Twitter. It's at TTML_F1. That's Tango Mike Lima _Foxtrot 1. So make sure you go and follow there. Obviously, the evaluation races will be next week. You can find all the details about the coverage when it gets to it next week, and who's going to be behind the mic and where you're all going to be. That's all in the Discord of the league anyway. But hopefully we will get all that information out, and hopefully we'll see a lot of you there as well. So it's great to see you all here. Fantastic to be a part of all of this, and hopefully, Graham, we're in some great racing very, very shortly.
Hopefully. I'm very impressed with your lingo. Tango, Mike, Lima?
Yeah. Well, when you twist your knee about a year ago and you have nothing better to do, you learn the phonetic alphabet. It's what kept me sane, Graham. I got to be honest with you. Lots of people remember the time I twisted my knee playing football, of all things. I drove karts every month or every week or whatever, and football was the one that made me get my injury. But you know, what can you do? Football's more dangerous than motorsport. You heard it here first. James in the chat there saying good evening, have a great night, myself and Graham. Good to see you along, James. Hopefully you'll be sticking with us for the stream, and good luck as well for, I believe you're doing a evaluation race next week, and obviously joining me in the commentary box very, very shortly next week. We've got 17 drivers now. So hopefully we aren't too far away from getting tonight's proceedings started. But as you'll see, hopefully this is a good chance for us to test out, and this is a good chance for Tom basically to test out a brand new intro. More on that when we get to it, but we're not far away, I can tell you that right now. I'm looking forward to this. Tom gave us about a 25-minute briefing on how things are going to run for the season, how things are going to run in general as well. But I promise I might have listened. Tom, I can't promise that I did. I mean, I did go over a certain thing with you about 20,000 times. So if I get that bit wrong, not great. But, you know, there we go. So 18 drivers now, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we've only got 2 more. So it's just keeping us on edge here, Graham, really, isn't it? That's all they're doing.
It's always, yeah, they're trying to make us try and find things to talk about before you can get into the real juicy stuff. So thanks.
Absolutely. Well, as long as we're not talking about the weather yet, we're doing okay. That's next up on my list. No, I'm kidding. But obviously, Graham, you're going to be a little bit of a sort of a driver pundit, if you like, when we come into this. At least for this race, you'll be leading, hopefully, the Division 4 leagues there, or at least the stream. But here we go then. We're counting down now into the lobby. We have 18 drivers with us, and hopefully you'll be able to see all the action very, very shortly. I'm looking forward to this. The Canadian Grand Prix, for me, always delivers. It's one of my favourite tracks on the calendar. Maybe because it's around the weekend of my birthday. That probably helps as well. But nevertheless, it's a fantastic track where it needs the high speed and the high downforce when you make your way into it. So hopefully you can see there in the marina. It's a man-made circuit, but it's man-made action as well. The hairpin, of course, where Robert Kubica had his crash there in 2007. But, well, there's only one thing for it now. It's almost time for tonight's action to get underway. So let's get things underway right now. Well, hello everybody. This is a brand new intro, and here we are at the Canadian Grand Prix, a fantastic place to be, a man-made island, perfect for the amount of action we're going to be having today. The social race, the second social race, I should say, of TT Masters League, of course, with the evaluation coming up next week. It's been the scene of Jenson Button's famous 2011 win with a race that went on for almost 4 hours. Well, the Canadian Grand Prix then, 14 corners, covers about 4 kilometres here on the track with lots of undulation in places, especially in that first sector. Watch out for the overtaking opportunities into turns 1, 2 and 3, and also down towards the hairpin. You've also got that dreaded Wall of Champions in that final chicane, ready to catch out drivers who are just willing to push the track limits just a little bit too much. Well, here we are now in qualifying. Perfect transition, I hope, in towards qualifying, and we have 17 minutes on the clock for drivers to set these lap times. Short qualifying here, and it's a perfect chance for drivers to get their noses in and see how it's all going to play out. But I'm really looking forward to this, Graham.
Absolutely, and you mentioned drivers looking to take liberties. I think we'll see lots of that possibly tonight. We'll see how many of those end up in a barrier, very narrow circuit, despite being, one of the a long-time fixture on the calendar. It's one that will definitely catch you out if you're not paying attention. Plenty of opportunities to do it. Drivers will have to be careful as they head out onto the track.
Absolutely, and as well as that, 3 activation zones of DRS, 2 detection points. We've got a detection point just on the exit of turn 9. It's very early on the run up towards turn 10, so get the move done into the hairpin and you've got yourself some DRS on the exit. As well as that, you've got a detection zone just before turn 6 with that short run through 8 and 9, able to get you some action there. It's a new menu as well, Graham, we've got to get used to, that is for sure, as we ride on board with Venom. No longer can you click the driver and that's the one it goes to. You then have to scroll down one to spectate, so that's going to take some getting used to. I'm going to be clicking the X button the whole time trying to get to a new driver, and it just won't be doing anything, and I won't know why. But that is again something we have to get used to. Something we have to get used to as well is calling what was the Toro Rosso team now the Alpha Tauri.
Yes, 2 alphas on the grid. They love to do this, don't they? There's always some sort of mix-up that just adds a bit of unpredictability to it. Maybe it's Racing Point and Force India last year, Alpha Tauri and Alfa Romeo this year. They just never leave us alone. Never give us a break.
Never, ever, ever. And you know what? I wouldn't really have it any other way, to be honest with you. Again, I've just done it again, trying to spectate someone. Oh, why isn't it doing anything? It's because I haven't actually scrolled down. So, yeah, that is definitely going to catch me out at least once this season. We'll actually ride on board with Venom here as he makes his way now on towards the start-finish line, ready to set a lap time here at the Canadian Grand Prix. Braking hard now for turn 1, locking up that front left in towards turn 2, and it's a very tight turn 2 there. Make sure you don't get the wheel spin on exit. It goes uphill, which can be a detriment to that wheel spin. Heading now in towards turns 4 and 5. Very quick chicane with a wall on the outside, ready to catch you out if you get it wrong. Flying through turn 6, now towards turn 7 and 8. Use that curb on the inside there to try and help the car turn in. Turn 8 is very, very precarious with the understeer, with that wall lurking on the left-hand side now. DRS wide open with a short run towards turns 9 and 10. You can see they're attacking the sleeping policeman on the inside of turn 9 to try and make the corner as straight as possible. It's now a curved run all the way up towards the hairpin of turn 10, braking hard for the slowest corner on the track. Then again, a little bit of lock up on the front right tyre. Get the wheel spin perfect here because you've got the longest straight here. About 15 seconds you spend on the throttle pedal now, all the way towards the last chicane, and the Wall of Champions lurking on that right hand side now. There's a bit of a bump in the road, that's your braking zone there. Taking liberties as well with that sleeping policeman on both curbs. Now straight line all the way to that start finish line, and that is a lap there by Venom, but it won't count. Isotopic there at the top of the table, the 110.1 at the moment. There he is in the Ferrari, but there is Sway then with a 108.6 in the Alfa Romeo. Gets himself now top of the table. Interestingly, driving car number 7. I didn't think that was possible, but there you go. He is driving car number 7 as he makes his way all the way through, but currently leading the way at the top of the standings here. And of course, with the new game, Graham, as well, comes a new set of DRS. Obviously, there's no need to change everything around as you go through qualifying, at least. You've got 2 settings. You've got it either turned off or on hot lap mode. So there's no having to fix and switch which one is which. You just set it in hot lap mode for a lap and it will just automatically deploy whenever it needs to around the circuit, which is going to be a much needed relief for these drivers.
Yeah, it's much easier having to flick down through the menus. Low, high, overtake, hot lap, just simple 1 or 2 and you're set. So a welcome, I think, addition for the drivers. I was just looking at that board we were looking at from Venom. It was so smooth, even on the medium tires. It was so smooth. As one thing I've been really struggling with is like low corner grip. But Venom just looks so comfortable, even on a set of mediums where they're lacking that optimal grip, obviously, that you would get from a set of softs. Just looks so comfortable in control. It's really nice to watch. It's a shame he invalidated just at the end of the lap there.
Absolutely. Caesar is now out on track. Then in the Mercedes, we've got a bunch of lap times set on the board. Well, pretty much half of them have been set on the soft tyres, half of them on the mediums. It's a very, very happy medium there. Medium tyres seem to be doing a really good job out there. 109.3 from Corboy on those mediums compared to a 108.6 from Sway on the soft tyres. And of course, as we see that lovely hairpin there, let's just get a good view of that one as they make their way through. Oh, the Red Bull there getting a little bit of a tank slapper on the exit of turn 10. But it's just, one of my favourite tracks for a very good reason is because it demands the high speed but also the high downforce as you go through turns 1 and 2. So finding the setup here is so crucial when you're heading to the Canadian Grand Prix. Oh, that's Caesar going into the wall of champions. That's going to be a little bit of damage on that front wing surely as he crosses the line there. And that's a new thing as well. You can get a lap time invalidated for hitting the wall. So that's another thing the drivers have to watch out for.
Only seems to add insult to injury, though, doesn't it? You just getting into the wall it's not enough of a punch, but apparently we need to invalidate your lap time as well. Harsh, but that is those are the breaks. But it's nice, isn't it, to see a nice. You don't get this at all the tracks. A nice difference of strategy, even in qualifying. Normally, we're just used to people putting on the fastest set of tires, and away you go. But I'd like to see a little bit of diversity in the strategy, at least so far. Of course, as qualifying goes on, you might see some of these medium runners put on a set of softs to end the session, and just put on the mediums first to build up. The confidence, and as time goes on, then you really let loose as the session begins to wind down on softs. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Zero there, setting a 109.3, improved on his own time by 0.6 of a second, and now gets him onto the second row of the grid there in 4th place. Lots of drivers still yet to set a lap time. We've got Vic, who's currently out there on a lap in the Renault, I should say, on the Renault, as he makes his way now down the back straight towards the Wall of Champions. He has invalidated his lap, unfortunately, so we'll have to go again. We've got Wesker, who's on a lap as well. He is not invalidated, so we should be able to see a lap time from him, albeit providing he doesn't cut the next chicane. But he's backed out of it at the moment and is actually heading back to the pit lane, so no lap set for him so far. Everybody else, though, either in the pits or on an out lap in terms of who hasn't set a lap time yet. But just over 10 minutes to go, and we have a decent idea of what the pace is going to be like. I assume those that have set tyres on the medium, or set times on the medium, I should say, will be out on a set of softs very shortly.
I expect so as well. Got Venom starting his lap as his teammate pulled in. He carried on, but yeah, I do expect that's what we'll see. We'll see a set of softs come the end. You just mentioned Zero. He's got 3 laps on his softs. Ideally, you'd like to set maybe a quicker time and maybe start a race with something with less tyre wear than 3 laps, because obviously the softs will go away quickly here, and the more time you put on these in qualifying, the more that will be to a detriment in the race. So I wonder if he'll try and he'll obviously have another go and see if he can improve. He'll be hoping to, because that would be detrimental to his race to start on tyres that old.
Yeah, that is going to be a huge thing as well. We've got 35 laps here of the Canadian Grand Prix waiting for us in just a short while, but as Venom now makes his way down towards that final chicane, through he goes. Now, is this a lap or is this an out lap that he's tricked us with? Let's have a look as he heads his way towards the line. It was a lap. That puts him top. 108.1 from Venom there, as he now makes his way to the top of the table in the Racing Point.
wasn't even close in the end, isn't it? 8.1. We expected Venom to be pretty much on the pace though, so maybe it's perhaps not too much of a surprise, but let's see if anyone can take the challenge to him. Still got 9 minutes to go, plenty of time.
Plenty of time indeed, and also remember that this is the social race, so you've got a mix of abilities in here as well, racing against each other. This is just the perfect opportunity to see where things stand as of right now. But it kind of reminds me, Graham, in football, where it's just sort of pre-season. You don't want to reveal to your rivals how good you might actually be, so you might just sort of lift off into some corners and maybe, I don't want to set a 107 right now into this part, otherwise I'll regret it in the evaluation race. That's the place where you need all that performance that you've got.
A bit harder to sandbag because you could just stick the ERS deployment in none or low, and you could sandbag that way, and let people, mislead people a little bit in terms of your pace. But you're not going to have that option anymore with the two ERS modes we were talking about earlier. So that's one option that's been taken away if they want to hide some of their cards.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they could run a lap in 0 ERS. That is theoretically possible, but the ERS here, even at mode 1, which is medium now, there is no low setting anymore. It's just a medium. Even then, that is still quite powerful. It's going to make a 2, 3, 4 kilometre per hour difference depending on which circuit you're at. So, it is crucial when it comes to this. There's no offsetting when it gets to a race. Which is, I think, what you were pointing out. But there is an offsetting in qualifying, so it's a little bit this and that at the moment. But I can understand why they've done it, so you don't just harvest the ERS unnecessarily as you make your way through. But we've got just over 7 minutes to go, and it is Venom who is top at the moment with a 108.1. Sway has improved, I believe, his time. He's now a 108.6. Corboy in third with J. Cole fourth. Jono rounding out the top 5. He set his best time on a set of the mediums. As I say that, Trap then goes up to P3, and with LFC after his name, I'm pretty sure he's had a fantastic month already. Let's see how he gets on tonight.
That he has. Sway just improved there, 8.176, very close to Venom. Closer than I thought he may have been. So Sway looking very much on the pace here tonight. Going to give Venom a run for his money.
He is indeed. Yeah, absolutely. Well, what's that? 0.02 of a second difference between the two of them. It's under 0.03 of a second, that is for sure. Sway makes his way through. So that puts Trap in third, Corboy fourth, J. Cole fifth. Caesar actually now gets himself up to 6th place on the standings in the Mercedes. So he's on to the third row of the grid for now. Jono now in 7th, as he was in 5th, as Caesar makes his own track there going through. But Jono, who is currently on a flying lap right now in the Alpha Tauri, making his way up towards turns 7 and 8. We've got yellow flags there, but I think that's just Caesar letting drivers through. Right on board with Jono then as he makes his way through. Of course, this is a test stream not only for everybody else, not only for Tom, but it's also for us as well to make sure we've got the audio settings and the video settings right as well. So if there's anything that sounds a bit off, if it sounds a bit quiet, if we sound too loud, obviously let us know. Jono actually set a purple sector in sector 2 there, so that's a really good lap time so far. Can he get himself up the order, maybe even get a chance of pole position? Let's see as he makes his way now down the back straight. We've got a racing point there pulling off to the side to let the Alpha Tauri through as he makes his way now down towards that final chicane. Of course, it is a social race, but that doesn't mean that the rules still aren't in full sway. Jono makes his way towards the line, and it's P5 with that purple sector 2. So I reckon there's still a bit more time for him to find there.
I think so. He went a bit deep into the hairpin after setting that purple sector 2. Nice clean chicane. Maybe could have attacked a bit more. So I definitely think there is some time to find there for Jono in sector 3 for sure. But a good basis to work with, an 8.8. I think getting a lap in, because somebody's still in validate here, getting a good lap in early, really important, relieving some of that pressure off yourself later in the session as you're ticking down to just around 5 minutes. If you haven't set a lap time or a uncompetitive one, because of track limits and such, it just adds so much more pressure onto that last run. So it's good to see a lot of drivers here just getting that out of the way so they can just run free into this last push as we now take under 5 minutes.
So just under 5 minutes to go. It is Venom still at the top of the table with Sway in second place, but expect the track to get very crowded very shortly as Jono now makes his way back towards the pit lane. It's a short lap here at least, so drivers can pretty much come back into the pits, get that minute to get the car rolled over and changed over, brand new tyres, and go out for another lap. So I would expect around about the 3 minute mark. Keep an eye on the garages because there's going to be a lot of engineers checking if the pit lane is clear.
I think it's important, especially on a track like this where you can invalidate a lap in multiple different spots. There's so many spots you can invalidate your lap time that you give yourself enough time that maybe you have a second run in case you invalidate your first run. And not, again, talking about pressure, not putting all that pressure on to do it in one lap. You can do it, but it's so easy to invalidate around here. So I think giving yourself that little extra time to sneak in a second flying lap if you need to back off your first one due to invalidation, I think is really important.
Well, here is Charlie then, hasn't set a lap time, one of 3 drivers that hasn't set a lap time so far, the other 2 being Wesker and Cam at the moment. But there is Charlie now making his way through turns 8 and 9 as he now makes his way towards the hairpin of turn 10, where we saw that horrifying crash for Robert Kubica all the way back in 2007. The great story about that one is that the year after he came back to win the race in 2008. Such a great story for the Polish driver there. Here's Charlie then making his way down the back straight and towards the final chicane. He too went purple through sector 2. They're all lighting up that sector as Charlie now makes his way through that chicane. Lovely bit of control there as he makes his way towards that start finish line. Can Charlie get himself up the order? Yes, he can, up to P4 with a 108.7. Good lap from Charlie there. Bit of a lock up into turn 1, but I don't think he minds now because those tyres probably will be used in the race. But it is so compact in that, well, I say the midfield, but from 3rd all the way down to, what is that, 3rd to 13th is covered by a 2nd. That order is going to get shuffled around in these last remaining minutes.
Yeah, a lot is going to change in a hurry, which is a nightmare for us to try and keep up with, but always fun when the field, you can see it, is this close, and you know there's going to be a big shuffle. You could easily end up, starting this run in 6th or 7th and find yourself down outside the top 10. They can change so quickly. So nailing the lap really important as we now tick to just under 2.5 minutes. More and more drivers leaving the pit exit.
Now, a huge difference as well from this game to the last one is that in the last game you could run tyres about 75% before you really had to start worrying about them. Now that threshold seems to be down to 60% because the game shouts at you when you have 60% tyre wear. So maybe that's probably trying to encourage 2 stops more than 1 stops. So that might be something that drivers have to take into account, especially going into this league race, that 2 stops could be a more viable option, especially in these 50% races. But of course we won't know until we get ourselves going. So we've got just over 90 seconds of the qualifying session to go. We've got J. Cole, who's currently on a flying lap right now as he went through turn 9. A little bit of understeer from him there, but as we make our way now down towards turn 10, he's in the Haas right now, just locking up a little bit there on that front right-hand tyre, but now he tries to get the power down now on the exit of the hairpin and now down the back straight. With Kelvin now retiring, he feels that he can't do any more than he can at the moment, which is a shame for him. But however, J. Cole making his way in towards that final chicane, trying to get this as sweetly as possible. Lovely there, just about got that line right through there as J. Cole makes his way towards the line. It's 3rd place for J. Cole, 108.5 from him at the moment. So that's going to be at least 2nd row of the grid. Purple 3rd sector from the Haas driver, but not quite enough to get him to the top of that table. We've got Corboy, who's on an out lap right now. We'll have to see who are on flying laps at the moment. We've got Venom here making his way towards the start finish line. He invalidated his last lap, but he's now going to have to go again. Currently at the top of the table, we've got Sway there, who's getting out of the way of Zero there. I don't know, actually. He's got 40 seconds to get to that start-finish line. That's going to be very tight, but I don't know, actually. Oh, he's got front wing damage on the right-hand side. That's why he's backed off. So no chance for any improvement for him. Jono as well, I think he's backed out of it. I don't know, 20 seconds is a very short time to try and get back to the pit lane there. Chubbs is now going to start his flying lap. Charlie's not going to be too far behind him as he's now making his way towards the hairpin. Actually, that's going to be very close. He's not going to make the checkered flag. Well, he's not going to make it. I don't think. With only 10 seconds to go. It takes you about 15 seconds to go down the start-finish straight. So he's left it a little bit too late then as he makes his way through now. Cam is on a flying lap. He has made the checkered flag, or he set a lap, sorry. He's now in 7th place. You've got Trap there, who's making his way through the hairpin. He's currently on a flying lap. Checkered flag is out then. So we've got cars finishing up. We've got Zero, who has now finished up his lap time. He's in 13th place for now. Let's have a look Have a look at Trap then as he makes his way now down towards the hairpin. He's cut that completely. He must have absolutely cut something there or got it wrong. But there is Venom, who is now top 107.8. Only driver into the 107 so far. That's a great lap time from the Racing Point there. Cam is not on a lap time. Let's have a look at Coreboy. He's not on a lap time. He's invalidated his. You got Vic here making his way towards that line. Can he improve on 11th place? No, he can't. He's a 108.9 from him, and unfortunately doesn't improve his position on the table. We've got Scuba now, currently P14 in the Ferrari. Isotopic doesn't improve, and Scuba backs out of his lap time and still goes 13th place. So what could have a lap time that could have been from Scuba? Even if he backed out, still a 108.9 from him. So that will do it here for qualifying, and a 107.8 is enough to get that pole position.
Smashing lap time. Not a lot of people improved too much in the top end in the end. Just maybe mostly J. Cole get up to 4th there. But there you go. There is your qualifying results. Venom on pole position ahead of Sway, ahead of Jono then in 3rd, J. Cole 4th. Chubbs then rounding out the top 5. Should be an interesting race indeed.
Absolutely. Top 9 separated by 1 second. Entire field, when you look at it, bear in mind it is a social race, 2.2 seconds, so
that's
not
impressive.
too bad. Especially for a social race, when you've got a mix of abilities thrown against each other to see how they all get on. Of course, this is a bit of fun for tonight for the drivers to get used to racing online and racing with this league. But when the evaluation races come next week, that is when it could get a little bit more competitive. I think it definitely will get a little bit more competitive when drivers realise that this is going to be the decision that's made on which division they're competing in for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. The gloves will certainly be off. There'll be no breaking before the start-finish straight anyways, that's for sure. But I think Scuba definitely has a mind on the strategy, which would be something very interesting to talk about as we head into this one. Strategy will be interesting. I think we'll definitely see some split roads as we head into the 35 laps ahead of us.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that it could be a 2-stop. You could have soft mediums. You could have medium soft, which I think is the strategy that I believe.
It was last year for sure.
Yeah,
the hards were not good last year, and I expect that will be the case this year as well. But we'll definitely see some people on them, so I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I think as well that the hard tyres were never... I don't think they've ever been a good tyre. So I think
certainly not around here.
Definitely not around here, when you need the mechanical grip as well as the aerodynamic grip. I think Scuba's going to be starting on the mediums purely because he backed out of his lap time. He wouldn't have done that otherwise if he didn't plan to start on a set of mediums. If he wanted to start on softs, he would have gone into the top 10 very easily there. So I think he's going to start on the mediums. But in terms of a strategy, Graham, we're a little bit in the dark because until we get racing, we really don't know what's going to happen.
We really don't know, and I also think, I wonder how many people might bank on a safety car coming out in terms of looking at their strategy. You don't want to pit just before one is deployed, and, well, as we know, they can be fairly sporadic at times. So I'm sure that might play into some people's decisions as well.
Yeah, it was a bit more prevalent last season, so in the last game I should say, with that update the safety car came out more often, so hopefully it does react to crashes now more often than not, so the important thing is don't crash and the safety car won't get deployed. That's hopefully the mentality behind it. You got Venom on pole position, of course. The top 10 have to start on the tyre they set their fastest lap time in during qualifying. For Vic, for Caesar, for Scuba, they've qualified outside the top 10, so they're on the medium tyres. Oh, there you go, a new feature of the game. That is the predicted pit stop strategy, soft, medium. Well. I think that's going to be slightly wrong. I think it's going to be soft, medium, especially if drivers have gone for that more aggressive tyre strategy. Of course, they get the softer, balanced and harder strategies on the tyre strategy. So it's all depending if they've gone softer, which I think at Canada you really have to do.
I wonder how much tyre temperatures might play into that. Be interesting to see how many. We might see some drivers understeering, possibly with tyre carcass temperatures. I'm really excited to see. I also wonder what an early safety car might do. How many people might decide to split the strategy then? Maybe go to the end on the hards? Or will they stick to their guns on a 2-stop? Mediums or softs? It will be fascinating to see.
One thing we definitely know is that it's not going to be a 1-stop race. That's the thing we definitely know. It's going to be 2 stops. But whether that predicted strategy is everything else the drivers are going for is a completely different question. there is the Racing Point lining up on the front row of the grid with Sway alongside him in P2 in the Alfa Romeo. And as you can see, the drivers now forming up the rest of the grid behind. And we've got a Red Bull, and I think one of the last cars there is the Ferrari of Isotopic making his way towards the grid slot. But we are moments away from the second social race here in TT Masters League, as we are prepared to take on the Canadian Grand Prix. 35 laps await us here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and we head up now. It is 5 red lights. We are underway. What are the starts like? Good start from Venom there. He'll instantly go to cut off Sway there, who's not got a great start at all, heading now in towards turn 1. That's Jaco, who's looking to try and take advantage. That's the Alpha Tauri there, who's got the jump on the cars behind. Sway then down to second place at the moment. I think Chubb's now in third as we make our way now in towards the next couple of corners. We've got Vic, who's in trouble at the moment as well, further down the field, but he has recovered and will now make his way through. The standings are having a little bit of a tough time trying to keep up with who is who, but I think it's sorted itself out now. Venom leads. It's actually Jono in P2. We've got a spin all the way down the field. It's actually Trap there, who's had a spin at turn 7. He's now reversing the car. There's front wing debris all over the track. I don't actually think that's his own front wing debris, to be honest with you, but we'll have to see how that all goes. Just covered with local yellows for now, which it should be, as Trap should be able to recover that car and get racing once again. Venom still leads, though, now over a second between him and Jono. Jono got a fantastic start off the line, and of course there are your predicted stops. And now, yeah, you can see 2 soft tyre stints followed by a medium stint. It's updated itself there. That's the strategy I think the drivers are going to go for here, a much more aggressive strategy, and that looks like it's going to be drivers who can look after their tyres as well. But Venom completes the first lap in the lead. Jono up to second now. Great start from the Alpha Tauri. It's Sway in third, Chubbs in fourth, with J. Cole fifth, Cam sixth, Charlie in seventh, Corboy in eighth, Wesker ninth, and Scuba with a great start. He's up 3 places to 10th place.
A couple of drivers I've noticed have got wing damage straight away. TTG Storm hit the back while champions heading out last corner. Wesker got some wing damage heading into the first few corners. So a couple of drivers nursing damage early on. They're going to decide to try and limp it out and may replace the wing at the first round of pit stops.
Well, obviously the predictive strategy there is updating as we go along. There's actually a 3-stop available now for some drivers, so that's a bit of an interesting one. I think 3-stop you'll lose a little bit too much time. You've got Cesar there and Di Miles actually battling away as we head in towards turn 9 there. Cesar getting a massive amount of oversteer there, managing to keep a hold of the car. But there goes Kelvin, who takes the line. Here we go then towards the hairpin. Cesar will try and leave his brake as late as possible, which he gets it done and makes his way now and manages to defend from Kelvin, but lots of battles happening up and down the field at the moment. Wesker in 9th place there. You can see a Ferrari of Isotopic, who started down in P16, now moves ahead of Storm, who comes into the pits, and that is going to be a very, very awkward pit lane entrance. It always has been, and it always will be. You've got some drivers who'll be braking for the chicane. You'll have some drivers carrying that speed into the pit lane. So careful, and you've really got to, there's no real way you can make it clear that you're making it into the pit lane.
No indicators on these, of course. I think I just saw a bit of wing fly off. It might have been J. Cole, actually. No, it doesn't look like it, but it's driver's definitely tiptoeing. Oh, he's spun around and he's lost the position to Cam. Will Charlie go through as well? He just about avoids him, but that was J. Cole then in a good position, coming out of, I believe it was turn 7, and he's falling down the order quickly.
Yeah, luckily he ghosted there, because 1 or 2 drivers would have been caught out by that if he hadn't, but he's now fallen all the way down to 13th place. Vic Mill then getting it a little bit sideways going through turn 9. That could invite J. Cole to have an opportunity there. Yellow flags in sectors 2 and 3. We've got Di Miles, who's moved down a position. He's now lost a chunk of front wing on the right-hand side. Not good for him, and he'll have to pit in. Not what he wanted as well, being on the medium tyres. Making our way through the chicane. Venom will start the 4th lap of this race with Jono in second, Sway in third. The top 3 pretty much out of DRS range of each other. Chubbs is in DRS range of Sway as he makes his way in towards turns 1 and 2. A little bit of a lock-up from him in towards 1, but he's able to recover and pretty much keep that car on the track, which is the really important thing. With a 2-stop strategy, you've really got to be hard and fast. It's pretty much qualifying lap after qualifying lap if you're doing a 2-stop.
Yeah, gotta keep pushing, and with 3 DRS zones on this track, that would be bad news for Sway that he's got Chubbs in his rear, because 3 zones, hard to shake a car who's got that amount of extra straight line speed on 3 separate straights. But the only one kind of comfort he might have is that Captain Chubbs is using quite a lot of his ERS, whereas Sway has got some in reserve, as that's a second penalty already for TTG Core Boy. So he won't be the only one racking up the penalties as we progress through this race.
J. Cole getting a move on the Ferrari of Isotopic there in towards turns 8 and 9. Lovely move from him. Oh, Isotopic just about keeping that out of the back of the Haas there as he makes his way through. That's going to open up an opportunity maybe for Caesar as we head down the back straight. But lap 4 of this race, we're expecting cars in from around about lap 8 if the predicted pit stop strategy is anything to go by. And Corboy is into the pits then. In the Williams from, I believe that was around 7th or 6th place there, but he's now in. Let's see what tyres go on. Medium tyres are ready for him, so on they go, and away he goes.
So schedule stop there. He decided to come in early there. First the front runners to do so.
Very early, in fact, much earlier than we were expecting. So if he's onto the medium tyres now, he surely can't take those to the end. But I'm thinking that's soft medium now for the Williams driver as he makes his way through out of the pit lane. So yeah, I think that his next stop surely has to be a set of mediums. He can't make mediums last however long it is, you know, looking at 25 laps.
I'm now interested to see what the reaction is to that now, because he's got a good bit of clear track, and I think that'll definitely put some pressure on some drivers in front to maybe respond to that undercut. We'll see very, very quickly as they head up this back straight.
Absolutely. We've got a battle here, though, for third place between Sway, Chubbs and Cam. They are absolutely close to each other. Caesar getting a move on Isotopic off stream, but making our way through that chicane with the Wall of Champions ever lurking on the right-hand side. It's caught out drivers, even Michael Schumacher himself in the past. In fact, the reason it's got the Wall of Champions name is because one race, I believe in 1999, where 3 champions hit that wall, hence the name. And lots of drivers have been caught up in it ever since. Meanwhile, though, lap 6 of this race, Venom leads from Jono and Sway. It's your top 3 so far. Chubbs in 4th with Cam in 5th place. Charlie in 6th with Wesker 7th. Scuba 8th, having started on the medium tyres. Zero in 9th, and Vic is in 10th place.
Ooh, it's a Ferrari round. It's Isotopic. He has lost to coming out of turn 2, I believe.
Yeah, it's turn 2.
And into the wall. He's now not the only Ferrari with wing damage, because I've just noticed that Scuba also has some wing damage on that Ferrari as well, which is why he hasn't really overtaken Wesker at this stage, even though Wesker, we know, he just gets the penalty there, has got wing damage as well. So I wonder if Zero then can lock in on this damaged pair of cars in front of him.
Yeah, and Scuba there wanted that long run in the first stint on those medium tyres, and that's just not what he needed at all. With the amount of downforce you lose, you don't want to lose any at the Canadian Grand Prix. But he might have a little bit more straight line speed with that front wing damage, if it works like that, I wonder. But the balance of the car will be all out. You can see he's locking up there in towards the chicane. That's not great for him whatsoever. We've got Sway and Chubbs now into the pits from their respective positions. On will go a set of medium tyres for the Alfa Romeo. And a front wing change for the Alfa Romeo as well. Chubbs in, he didn't have to change his front wing. He's now onto a set of medium tyres, so we believe he's got one more stop to go.
Strategy seems pretty clear, as you were talking about earlier. I wonder where Sway damaged his wing to have to replace it. He's come out behind Coreboy, so that shows you how much time obviously is lost with the wing change, and obviously Coreboy being on the fresh rubber as well. Just looking at he's got damage on the left hand side of Scuba, so I'm guessing he's hit the wall coming out of turn 7. Very easy to do as you kind of either have to correct the car or whatever the case may be. But I saw Vic just got by Zero that previous lap, and he's on mediums as well, so I think he'd be close enough to this pair. We're going to see a nice little battle here for P5, I'd say, in the next few laps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still Venom who leads, though. Jono's second, Cam in third. We are expecting them in next lap. In fact, we've got Venom into the pits now. Jono, I believe, stays out, which he does. We've got a battle here going in towards the chicane. Charlie makes contact with the back of the racing point, though, coming into the pit lane, and he has damage to that front wing now. Here's the thing. Will a team quickly react to that with a front wing? They will. That was quick of them. Very quick response from the McLarens there. At least he doesn't have to do another lap with a front wing change looming over his shoulders, but he now leaves the pit lane, so that's good to see that the pit crews are now much more reactive.
Yeah, good to see that. If only they handled double stacking just as well, but hey, we can dream, can't we? Chubbs he's actually moved quite nicely in this race now that he's obviously Sway has made a stop at the change of wing. Chubbs could be looking at a podium position here. We'll have to see if he gets the jump on Jonna, who surely will be coming in very soon, if not at the end of this lap, to get rid of those soft compound tyres. Only a few left on track who've got those on them.
Yeah, you saw Venom there just get the move done on Caesar there. Pretty easy move. I don't think Caesar made too much of a battle out of that. Scuba, meanwhile, even with the front wing damage, wants to get past Wesker. He's got that DRS wide open now as we head down the back straight towards that chicane. Now, the advantage is that Wesker, if he needs to pit, will just go straight on immediately. But Scuba's gone down the inside in towards the chicane. Had to lock up there, had the racing line, but didn't get the exit. And Wesker there gets back ahead. There you go. You can see a pit window is open for those that started on the soft tyres to go and change onto the medium tyres for this race. Wesker, though, just about getting that move, or defensive move, I should say, stuck because Scuba was not willing to hang around at this moment in time. He's still not willing to hang around. Round the outside with front wing damage there through turn 5. Now in towards 6 and 7. He's still got the inside line. He's now round the outside through 7, and he's got that move done. The Ferrari moves into the lead of the race.
Excellent move. It certainly was committed, and he's going to hold on to it with DRS as well. So good for him, and he's got the superiority with the tyres as well. Just coming out of the pits, Jono just emerged in front of Captain Chubbs. So that was a close call for Jono, but he is still ahead of that Mercedes, and he looks to put Kelvin under some pressure.
Absolutely. Well, Wesker is not done with this one, but he's also got to defend from Vic Mill right behind him in the Renault, who has also started this race, I believe, on the medium tyres as he makes his way down the back straight. Scuba has a little bit of defending to do then as we make our way down towards the chicane. Once again, Wesker going up the inside this time around, and Scuba manages to just get out of the throttle a little bit. He realises that it's not worth going side by side as we head towards the start-finish line. Lap 10 of this race. There goes Vic Mill up the inside in towards turn 1 there, just about getting the car stopped. Scuba's got the inside line, making contact there, the two of them, but Scuba's just about kept a hold of second place, and it's as you were, first, second and third.
And Venom's going to be joining this little scrap in a second. Of course, he has made his stop, so he's got to exercise caution as these cars are going to be out for a few laps yet on those mediums, and Wesker should be in soon on those softs. He's only one bar to miles. He's got those softs on. Let's see then, Scuba with DRS is going to be coming back at Wesker. Will he choose to stay behind though? And he does, rather saving himself for the next DRS zone, because it'd be impossible to shake. It's the required time he needs, and then Wesker would just have another go as he did last lap.
There goes Venom. He's up the inside of Vic Mill, then in towards the hairpin we go. Up the inside, you can see the racing point still there on the exit, but he'll have the better traction and gets the move done there to move now up into third place. What that's going to mean is that Wesker and Scuba can now pretty much find themselves a pit stop down on the race leader. That's how far behind they are, but at least with Canada, it's a short pit lane here. It's a short pit time you have on the board, so it's not the end of the world. Wesker comes into the pits then, as we expected, a bit longer than expected. Venom now down the inside in towards turn 1 with that DRS. Has he got to try and go around the outside of 2? No, he doesn't. Takes the race lead away from Scuba and now leads this one on track, as well as with the strategy. Racing Point now in the lead. Scuba and Vic Mill still yet to make a stop in this race.
Yeah, the tyre delta can be a little bit confusing at times. It was a little off earlier, but still to make a stop, you can see, I'm not sure if it's showing for you, but Scuba, I'm seeing, has 0 laps on these mediums, which is not correct. And now he's got to try and hold off Vic, who is on the same strategy as him, having started on those mediums, and picks up a 3-second penalty.
Yeah, you can see there's only 4 drivers yet to make a stop in this race so far. Scuba, Vic Mill, Caesar and Kelvin. They're the only drivers yet to visit the pit lane in this race. So that's probably a more accurate way to figure out what's going on with the strategies at the moment. But everybody now onto a set of the medium tyres, which I'm expecting people to do for the rest of the race now. There might have been a chance that soft tyres would have been enabled, but you never know. Here comes Jono, meanwhile, down the inside of Caesar. Is he looking for a move down towards the chicane? He's certainly got the inside line here. You do not want to go through here side by side if you're not cooperating. Ooh. And Caesar there tries and takes the racing line, which Jono then just has to back out of. Scuba into the pits. He's onto a hard set of tyres now with a front wing change. Is he going to the end? Yes, he is. Surely that's him going to the end of the race.
That is surprising. Hard tyres are not quick. But maybe that's the only way he sees he can salvage his race. Got a yellow flag somewhere on the track. Yeah, and it's Captain Chubbs' round. Yeah,
it's the Mercedes there who flicks the car around to get himself back facing the right way. Meanwhile, we've got Caesar and Jono again battling away. Remember, Jono has stopped. Oh, Cam's lost the back end. In towards the wall he goes, and unfortunately for the Red Bull, does that mean he's got damage to the car? He hit that wall hard, and now going through in towards turns 8 and 9. I think miraculously, somehow, he's got away with that scot-free. So he can count himself a very, very lucky boy indeed.
Very, and well, Sway can count himself even luckier. He just managed to nip right through both the pair of them, and that is him into an effective net P2, I believe.
Absolutely, so good chance for him.
Having made the wing change as well, so that's worked out very fortuitously for him.
Indeed it has. Lap 12 of this race, now lap 13, as unfortunately Trap has left the session. Meanwhile, you've got Sway on the back of Caesar. He does make contact, though, to the Alfa Romeo with the wall on the right-hand side. Seems to have got away with it, though, as he now makes the move on Caesar in towards turn 1. And Caesar, this time into the braking zone, doesn't give too much of a fight there. The Alfa Romeo moves up to 3rd place.
See, Sway did what Jono should have done and not risk an overtake into that last chicane, choosing to back out of it, have another go with DRS as Cam is going to look to slide up through Caesar. Easy job for him. But that's what John maybe should have looked to have done. Maybe exercise a bit more patience and do what Sway did, because Sway is now through, and Jono, as we just seen, is into the pits for another set of mediums after, having been stuck behind after that incident.
Yeah, so strategy is really all over the place at the moment. Meanwhile, Zero gets a huge chunk of oversteer there. Wesker now goes side by side with him down that little straight towards turns 8 and 9. He's got the inside line and takes that position away. He's now up to 11th place with Chubbs, who had a spin earlier on in this race, his next target. Venom, though, still leads the way, 5 seconds ahead of a yet-to-stop Vic Mill in 2nd place. Sway then in 3rd. It's about 9 seconds, maybe even more than that, between Venom and Sway as Vic Mill comes into the pit lane then for a set of what I think is going to be it's either going to be softs or mediums. It's not going to be hard tyres. It's medium tyres ready for the Renault there as he now makes his way out of the pit lane. So he's still got another stop to make because he hasn't used 2 compounds of tyre. He's used the mandatory medium tyre. So now he's got to try and use a soft tyre or a hard tyre towards the end of the race, which I'm thinking he's leaving a soft stint to the last possible stint to give himself the lightest car possible, therefore the easiest car on the tyres, therefore faster in theory.
In theory, of course, if a safety car comes out, the game changes. But yeah, emerges into a 7th place. Not too bad. It's not a bad first stint for him. He's looking quite nice. Yellow flag somewhere on track. It's Jono. He's round at turn 2, and he's retired from the session. Now, will that bring out said safety car?
Well, as long as that car parks in a safe location, as J. Cole picks up a 3-second time penalty there, it's stopped just on the run towards turn 3. So, well, it should be okay. Let's hope that it is, because it is an AI-controlled car. Venom, though, will start lap 15 of this race. We have 21 laps to go here at the Canadian Grand Prix, and Venom leads by almost 10 seconds ahead of Sway there. It's Cam in 3rd, but he's quickly closing in to the Alfa Romeo ahead of him, heading out in towards turn 1. Let us know in the chat then, who are you supporting tonight? Who do you think is going to win the race from this position with 21 laps to go, or 20 and a bit if you're picking?
Very underrated race so far for Cowboy in 4th. Obviously, he stopped first out of the cars in front, but it's worked out quite nicely for him. He's got a nice little gap between himself and Jake Cole there in P5, and it's kind of been that little no man's land really, where he's not really threatening anyone, and no one's really threatening him from behind.
No, absolutely. It's one of those I'm on my own races at the moment, which can be boring, but they can really yield some good results if you just keep your head down. You've got no motivation to make an overtake, though, but you've got no one behind to defend from, so it's kind of a happy medium there, except it's not happy because you're on your own, as he gets a little bit of oversteer on the exit of 9 there. Vic Mill on a fresh set of medium tyres looks to close in on Charlie ahead of him as we make our way now up towards the hairpin, and Vic here, if he's got that racing brain on, will realise he's got a long DRS zone after the hairpin here. Now, Charlie might have DRS from the car ahead. It was on the bubble, but you can see Vic Mill here using that ERS overtake mode into the slipstream. He went, then with the DRS open, he's got the move done very easily there. Now up to 6th place. His next target is J. Cole.
He's already within DRS of him, so he'll have the benefit of the straight, the extra deployment there down the straight. So he's looking quite handy at this phase of the race. Is Vic. And who knows, maybe Joe might have to reactivate might have to push there from P4 if there's a car coming quickly behind them, and we've got a car out of the race. That is TTG Storm, I believe. He's retired in the pit lane.
He has, yes. So unfortunate for him as Chubbs picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's unfortunate for the McLaren there, but Storm feels that enough's enough, and he's unfortunately retired from today's race. So we're down to 16 runners, so the McLaren retiring in the pit lane, which is the correct way to do it here, and it means it's the least chance to bring out a safety car, which if you retire from the menu is a bit of an artificial way of deploying the safety car. We've got a Mercedes around. It's Cesar on the exit of turn 7. That car's reset itself, so we'll have to see what's done about that one, because there are rules against that, resetting the car from the menu. If it wasn't from the menu, though, it's going to be tough to enforce that one, but he has lost a chunk of front wing, and he takes the escape road. Luckily for Isotopic behind him, he's got that done. But yeah, he'll have to limp back to the pit lane there.
Vic Milk getting ahead of J. Cole there into, he got it very nicely done into the before the last chicane, and sets the fastest lap of the race in the process. And he's right behind Joe, so maybe an error from Joe somewhere, because he was a comfortable 2 seconds ahead. Now he's got Vic breathing down his neck, currently the fastest man on the track. So Vic is absolutely flying right now.
He absolutely is, and he's got P4 in his sights, as you said. Corboy there now picks himself up for 3-second time penalty. We'll have to look at penalties towards the end of the race, but we're pretty much at the halfway stage right now. We've got Mercedes in the pit, and that is Cesar retiring in the pit lane, so another retirement here, and that is Cesar now out of the race. He's decided to call it a day. Meanwhile then, Vic Mill in a chance here, and a chance for him to get past Corboy down towards the hairpin. But of course he leaves that now because he realises he's got the DRS zone heading out there. ERS has been deployed. Now the DRS will open at some point down this straight. He moves to the right hand side, and Corboy, you feel there, feels it's a bit pointless defending that one as we make our way now down towards that chicane. Vic Mill now up into 4th.
Be interested to see if he can make any inroads on the podium place here. 6.4 seconds. And basically just half the race to go. Podium could definitely well be on for the Renault driver, for sure.
Absolutely. He's got 6.2 seconds to make up between himself and Cam, which we know the top 3 here are no slouches. Venom 12.6 ahead of Sway, with Cam in 3rd place. I mean, yeah, you can see Vic is actually closing in on that one. It's now down to 5.9 after 1 sector. So keep an eye on Vic Mill, that is for sure. Chubbs then moving ahead of Kelvin, who's come into the pits. The Renault driver now changing a front wing and going onto the hard tyres to the end of the race. We've got Corboy, who's around now at turn 7. So Corboy, who was running in P5, now is out. Well, he's not out of the race, but he's just trying to find a way back into this one. He's waiting for the Red Bull to pass, but
it's a tough one.
That is a tough one, because he's almost Austin Powers, that one, but he's facing the right way, but he's got front wing damage, and unfortunately for Corboy there, that could be, well, it was going to be a great result nonetheless, but now he's just he's made it a lot more difficult for himself.
Shows you how quickly it can all go wrong. Almost look like a Mahavir Raghunathan with his trying to get that pointed in the right direction, trying to almost 4-point turn that thing, but eventually reset himself, and I assume he's close to I would say he's nearing the end of his stint anyways, but doesn't need all the added time added on to and I'm sure he's going to peel into the pits at the end of this lap. We'll find out. Yeah, in he comes.
So Venom still leads 13.6 seconds. The Racing Point is having a great time here in Canada. Cam is now 2.3 behind Sway, but Vic is really closing in on Cam bit by bit. 4.3 seconds is the gap now between 3rd and 4th place. You've got J. Cole, by the way, in 5th place, but he's got Charlie and Wesker for close company here.
Vic obviously, as Miles is out of this race, obviously got a fresher set of mediums, obviously having gone long on his mediums to start, so using that to his advantage, and continues to close down as an interesting battle here between Charlie, Wesker and J. Cole as well.
Well, you've got here J. Cole and Charlie looking to try and get the move on each other. Well, J. Cole actually got the DRS from the ghost car of Kieran Trapp, who's not in this race. So that is going to be, an advantage there to help the Haas of J. Cole, which he'll absolutely take. No doubt about that one. You take any advantage you have thrown your way. Corboy has now been into the pits. He's rejoined now in 13th place, now trying to chase down Kelvin on a set of the medium tyres, which in theory, well, it should get him to the end of the race.
I think so. J. Cole obviously benefiting from, of course, there's just one detection zone for those two DRS zones. It's not like Abu Dhabi where there's a second detection zone for that second part of the straight. So if you have DRS down one straight, you're going to have it down the other as well. So that definitely helped him stay ahead, at least for the last lap. See if he can hold on to the end of this lap, because Charlie is right there.
You can see there, J. Cole is going to have to try and hold on for this one, but Charlie now picks up a 3-second time penalty as they make their way now down towards the hairpin. You can see J. Cole locking up a little bit. He's run a little bit wide. You can see that Charlie stayed closer to the apex there to try and get the minimise the wheel spin, but he might be under attack from Wesker here as we head down the back straight. He will have DRS to help him defend from the car behind, but he's looking for a move now down the inside in towards the chicane. It's not normal to see too wide going through here, but Charlie's got the move done. It's a little bit of a bottleneck though, because you have to slow down so much to make the corner, but he's got the move done. Wesker now looking for a move up the inside of J. Cole, and he gets...
Charlie went through down the inside. Again, not the most conventional overtaking spot you'll see often. Often it's turn one, but yeah, he's lost out doubly so there, but he's got a little bit of a buffer behind. If he can stay within DRS here, maybe he can use this time to save a bit of ERS as Wesker looking to maybe put the pressure on Charlie in front, who's got a lot of ERS to boot as Wesker, so could be looking to jump a few places here as Wesker up to P4 potentially.
Absolutely. We saw Sway come into the pits as well off the stream, so he's now rejoined in P8, 5.6 behind Scuba, but more importantly, he's got some clean air to push as hard as he can. He's trying to force the undercut from Venom here, who stayed out for yet another lap. What does Cam do? How does he react? He comes in, reacting by pitting now as he makes way in towards the pit lane, and it's such a difficult pit lane to slow down for. You're doing 320 kilometers per hour, then you've got to slow it down to around about 80. On go another set of medium tyres for Cam. That will get him to the end of the race as he now rejoins the action. You've got Wesker here trying to defend as he's got past Charlie going through. So the race point now up to third. J. Cole fifth with Charlie fourth now.
Great pace from Wesker to get to third place. And he, of course, he had to replace a wing earlier in the race as well. But I guess 3-second penalty there though. I think with Sway, I'm not sure. I think he was just, I think it was preventative to try and prevent Cam from jumping him, but that seems to be what has happened anyways. Cam now ahead of Sway for the what we believe is the net P2 once the stops all shake out.
Absolutely, but that's worked perfectly for Cam. He's now up a position and now can try and focus on putting in lap after lap to try and catch Venom. I mean, it was 12-13 seconds before the pit lane or the pit stops between Venom and Sway, but in comes Venom now into the pit lane, ready with another set of medium tyres in the Racing Point crew. No need for a front wing change, and away he goes at some point, hopefully, out of the pit lane.
There
Vic
it is.
Mill coming through the pit lane, or through the final chicane, sorry. He's still, we believe, got to make one more stop because he's only used medium tyres to this point. Venom here should rejoin very much easily into the lead, which he does. So still very much in the lead here. Vic Mill in second place now. As you see Charlie and J. Cole come into the pits now. There's yellow flags on the exit of the hairpin there, and I think that was the Mercedes of Chubbs having a little bit of a moment. But out goes J. Cole there, and he's been jumped by Charlie, so Charlie's just about rejoined ahead. All the thing is, though, Wesker now finds himself in P3, but he's yet to make that second stop in this race. Of course, it's not mandatory 2 stops, but that's how it's turned out to be. Well, really, apart from Scuba, he's only made 1 stop so far this race, and he's out on a set of hard tyres. Now, durability, he's going to make it to the end, but in terms of pace, he's going to be quickly eaten up by Cam and Sway here.
Yeah, he's going to have company pretty soon, but after that, though, it's going to be a bit of an ask, would you say, perhaps for Charlie to get back, catch it, in essence, 12 seconds, maybe 13 seconds to get to the back of him. So if he's going to do it, because it's going to be very late. It'll be interesting to see if Scuba can hang on. Of course, Charlie will be dragging J. Cole with him, so that'll be fun to see.
I wonder if they're going to be working together to try and catch the cars in head, or will they battle for P7? I mean, they're racing drivers, so in the end they're probably going to battle for P7. But here we go then, down the back straight as Kelvin now picks up a 3-second time penalty. J. Cole here with the DRS, with some ERS deployment as well, moves to the left-hand side of your screen and gets that move done pretty easily there in towards the chicane. J. Cole now up to 7th place.
Sway's pace is looking very good at this phase of the race. I believe he set the fastest lap of the race a lap ago, and he is on the gearbox of Cam, then P5 with Scuba just ahead of them. Cam might be helped by the fact that he's in DRS of Scuba, that might protect him, but for how long can he stay there? Sway is looking good.
He is, and And a little bit of an oversteer moment out of turn 7 there for Cam, but he's managed to recover well from that one. Sway, meanwhile, you can see that yellow bar on the steering wheel is how much ERS he has to deploy. He's got quite a bit of it, more than half, whereas with Cam, he's got pretty much nothing in the tank there. So this is where the back straight here is going to be crucial, as Sway almost being caught out there with the braking zone ahead of him. But now he's got all that ERS to use and actually saves it here. He's going to rely on DRS only. Here comes Cam, though, on Scuba, using what little ERS he has to get past the Ferrari. That could be crucial. Here comes the Alfa Romeo, then up the inside, and just about makes that move stick. Scuba will be wondering what on earth happened. Sway getting a little bit of oversteer on the exit of the chicane there, but he won't worry too much because now he's got a perfect opportunity to try and close in on Cam once again.
That will have been coordinated. Those two are in the same party in the race, so I believe Scuba would not have fought him and lets him go. So that's worked out nicely for Sway. He can carry on his pursuit of Cam, but now this time the Red Bull does not have the DRS to protect himself this time. And Sway, as you mentioned with the lap before, nice little advantage on his ERS as well. He's got plenty in reserve to have an attack with.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where J. Cole is going to struggle. He's not got much ERS deployment, and once that reaches the orange value on the driver's heads-up display, it pretty much deploys at half the pace that it would normally do. So that's the disadvantage. You get half the power once you go under 10%. But with Sway, he's got no need to worry about that right now. He's probably going to try and use it all the way down the back straight here. Of course, you can only deploy it for a certain amount per lap. But there you can see that green bar on the bottom of his steering wheel there means that ERS is now being deployed. And you'll see him close in on Cam at a rate of knots here. Moves to the left-hand side. He's going to be on the outside of the chicane. That won't matter, though. Sway gets the move done. And with that ERS build-up, he's got P4.
I was looking at Cam's down that straight. He actually hits 0 heading down that straight. So even though Sway was a bit behind, as J. Cole overtakes Charlie heading just before the last chicane, even though he was quite a bit behind coming out of the hairpin, just absolutely monstered him down that straight as Cam's reserves drained. And I think Cam has lost out somewhere because now Scuba has got through as well. Maybe we have a snap of oversteer perhaps coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's now found himself behind the Ferrari, which I think will be quite infuriating for him. In fact, I know it will be very infuriating for him. But J. Cole here now making his way down towards turns 8 and 9, and he's got to try and make that move on Scuba all over again.
Yeah, might not be too hard for him. He's got a tyre advantage, a significant tyre advantage as well. So even though he's got a lacking of ERS compared to the Ferrari in front, he has got a tyre advantage. As long as you're close, should be able to traction himself well enough to give himself a good run. Let's see if he can do anything this lap, as Scuba initially did deploy the overtake, but he's backed off it, so he thinks perhaps this lap isn't going to be the one that, or at least this straight rather, isn't going to be the one. Let's see what his exit is like. I have a good chance here.
Yeah, he's got a definite good chance here. Scuba, in fact, moves to
the
the left-hand side. Yeah, he doesn't fight that one, so Cam back through into P5, but he's now 3.5 seconds back from Sway there, which I think we'll find even more annoying now that he's got that gap there clear as day. We're on to lap 27 here of the Canadian Grand Prix in the social race 2 of TT Masters League. It is Venom who leads from Vic Mill and Wesker in third place. Sway not very far away now from a potential podium battle here.
I'm just looking, I was talking a few laps ago about the gap between Scuba and then perhaps, possibly J. Cole and Charlie, potentially catching them on those fresh mediums. Because they've done so much squabbling, it seems, they haven't really made as much of an inroad on that gap as maybe they should have on those tyres. The gap is still 9.5 seconds, and we're losing laps as there's now a flag somewhere on track, but everyone seems to be pointing in the right direction. They're losing out on laps to actually close that down. I think those hards will have turned out to be a nice little stroke for Scuba as Vic Mill comes into the pits.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, Charlie is on the back of the the Haas there. So Vic is in for his second stop. On goes a set of soft tyres, so he's going to really be pushing to the end of the race. What's interesting as well is Wesker, who now finds himself up into P2, hasn't made a second stop yet. So we are expecting him back into the pits and possibly onto a set of soft tyres to get him to the end of the race. If he's got soft tyres, that is.
I wonder if he'll just try and limp it out, because if he makes a stop now, he's going to end up closer to 9th or 10th if he makes a stop. Whereas if he just limps it out, yes, there's a puncture risk as Chubbs is out of the race. I'm not sure where he is. He's in the pit lane and is retired. Whereas if he hangs on, if he stays out, he has at least a chance, maybe out of maybe a 5th or 6th or 7th, potentially, but he's going to lose P2 here in a second.
Not into the hairpin he won't, but you can see there he's right on the back of that racing point. Let's see if your theory comes true, Graham, as they now make their way down towards the back straight. ERS is open there for the Alfa Romeo, but you can see how little ERS he has to deploy. That won't matter though, because he's going for a move down the inside in towards the chicane, and he's got the move done. Then into second place he goes. Wesker running in third place, and maybe your theory's coming true, Graham, because right now, as the laps go by, there's less and less of a point of Wesker actually making that second stop.
He's losing, if that is the plan, you have like a sector 2, I think that is Kelvin. If that is the plan, he's losing the running time on those softs that obviously compared to have dead medium. So I think given how he's stood out this late, either it's a very miscalculated call of strategy or he's going to go to the end. I imagine it's the latter, but hey, we'll find out. A puncture might prevent him from doing so if the tyre wear is bad enough.
There's a bit of front wing end plate there on the exit of turn 7, so someone's had a little bit of a falling out with the barrier. That could have been Kelvin there. It was a bit of a black end plate there that I saw, and I'm trying to think of how many cars have black end plates. Renault's one of them for sure. We'll have to see what happens there. Does the Renault come into the pit lane? We'll see on the mini map. There, does he come in? Yes, he does. So that is the Renault there, as we've got a Red Bull off the track. That was Cam having a big moment there out of the hairpin, and he has really got that all wrong on the exit there, so that's unfortunate for him. He's lost even more positions now. Scuba is in 4th place now, with Vic in 5th. Scuba, who's going to the end on these hard tyres, and Vic Mill, who's emerged on these brand new soft tyres. Vic could have a chance of a podium here if he plays his cards right, and there you go. 1:10.4 is his fastest lap, and the fastest lap of the race.
He's flying, and of course with Wesker on a very old medium front, he's got to get by this Ferrari as quick as he can. Funny how it all works out, isn't it, with the different strategies? Scuba going on hards, Vic on the sauce, and yes, here they are on lap 30 sharing the same piece of track as they did before the first pit stops. It's interesting how it all works out, but Vic has got to get this right though.
Yeah, he has to get this right. It's important that he does. Scuba, of course, on the hard tyres. Then he's got Wesker ahead of him on worn mediums. This is his perfect chance to get a podium in this social race. Now making his way now towards turn 10. 6 laps to go. 5 and a bit if you're picky. In fact, it's going to be 5 laps to go right about now. 5 laps to go as Venom crosses that line. He's 19.5 seconds ahead of Sway. He looks very comfortable out there. That is for sure. Vic Mill, meanwhile, is on the back of Scuba with the DRS wide open. ERS being deployed, and look at that, just breezes past him down the back straight in towards the chicane. So Vic Mill now up into 4th place. 3rd place is on the table. 2.4 separates himself and Wesker.
Yeah, he's going to be closing in. Let's see his lap time is 11.5, a second slower than his previous lap. I think that's more so the fact he's behind traffic rather than the degradation of those tyres. But 1.6 behind Wesker, so a chance for a podium. Well, of course, we do have to kind of mention this part of the race. It's lap 31, and I don't know if you have paying attention, but there's been a lot of penalties that have flown up on the bottom screen throughout this race.
Oh, there goes Cam. He's going for a move on Scuba then, and Cam's got the move done, and up into P5 he goes, and now can try and, well, at least try and follow Vic Mill on those brand new set of soft tyres, but that's up to 5th place for him. Isotopic there with a 3-second time penalty. I mean, with 5 laps to go, 4 and a bit if you are picky, it might not be worth looking at the penalties now. It's probably worth looking at them at the final lap of this race, but I think we've got a clear sight of who might win this race. Here comes Vic Mill. He's going for the outside of Wesker here with the DRS and some ERS to boot, and he's got 3rd place now. 5 seconds separates himself and Sway with 4 laps to go. Well, I think that's a little bit of an impossible chance for Vic Mill, but I'm sure he'll take it with all the penalties that need to be added up.
Yeah, possibly. I love how you. I don't think there's any doubt of who's going to win this race, but behind Venom, there's going to be a lot to be decided. There's going to be a lot of chop and change. Even though Venom has just gotten himself a 3-second penalty, he's got enough margin, I think, to keep himself in that P1. But behind him, it's going to be absolutely chaos. It's going to be very, very fun to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, it's going to be shuffling more than a pack of cards. It really is. So I'll have to keep an eye on that as we head our way through. But lap 32 of the Canadian Grand Prix, soon to be lap 33, as Venom looks like he's absolutely running away with this. This is what happens when a driver is just absolutely tuned into the circuit. No problem whatsoever for Venom. He's now going to build up this gap to more than 20 seconds, I believe, by the end of this lap. Lap 33. We have 3 laps to go here in the second social race here in the TT Masters League. Don't forget as well, the evaluation races are next week. So although these social races are a good chance to meet new drivers and to race against potential teammates and rivals throughout the season, this is going to be pretty much the slate wiped clean when we head towards the evaluation race, really.
Very much so, as Joe Corby steals fastest lap, 10.4. Really, at this phase of the race, there's a couple of people just hanging in within DRS, but really, if you're one of the cars who've gone long and has been overtaken, you're really just hoping to kind of stay within a window. So Scuba here, all he would want to do is stay within a 3-second window, basically, of Cam and some of the guys in front. 3 or 6 seconds. This track can a bit more. If you're being good with penalties and you haven't picked up as many, a 6-second window can also do you just fine. But that's really what he'll be wanting to do at this phase: is just stick within a window. A couple of drivers will be looking to do that as well, and then take their chances as Wesker then has to defend from Cam. Cam goes through.
Yeah,
but arguably that might be to his detriment, because there's a detection zone. Now Wesker will have the DRS heading up this long back straight, so maybe not the best of timing there for Cam. Let's see if Wesker, who's got a lot of ERS left in the tank, can retake that P4.
Cam losing the back end there. That's definitely not what he wanted. And now that is Cam all the way now back down to 6th place, and Scuba, but not the first time this race, just breezes past him again. Corboy getting a 10-second time penalty there for corner cutting. That's probably him straight lining one corner. As yeah, you can see he is straight lining some corners, but Scuba's right on the back of Wesker here as we make our way towards the line. 2 laps to go here. And the Ferrari looking for a dive bomb now in towards turn 1. He's locked up here. Now he'll be on the outside of turn 2 with Wesker not giving up on this one either. Out the out of the second corner, I should say. Cam was right on the inside there. He's still on the inside now, flying his way through past the racing point, and Wesker there will definitely feel hard done by there. He's lost 2 positions there. Scuba going for the move up towards turn 1 there, but now he's got to deal with Cam behind him.
Well, he sent it, didn't he? He certainly sent it. And looking good. Got 2 laps to go. Well, almost 1.5. If, like you say, being picky, it's going to have to hang on a little bit longer. And that won't help either as we get to the business end of this race. Vic's tyres, his softs, they've gone away from. Sway is looking comfortable then in that P2, and they could just settle into P3 as we watch the battle unfold behind him. As Wesker is now dropped out of DRS. I wonder, did he pick up any? I don't think he took any damage on the contact. I don't think he would have. No, Wing looks okay. And Scuba looks okay to keep this position, helped, I think, by the fact that Cam is running quite low on ERS, but as is Scuba, so let's see how it plays out on this final lap.
Absolutely. Well, we are on the final lap right now when you've got Venom now making his way towards turns 8 and turn 9, as he has pretty much dominated this race as we head our way through. He's had a great drive today. This will be a really good encouragement boost for him as we head towards the evaluation races next week. But he makes his way now through the hairpin, and he's really only got the Wall of Champions to go. So long as he doesn't bin it, that's the last thing I want to do. He'll probably take the...
Could you imagine?
I mean, I can't imagine, to be honest with you. I can only see if it happens. But we'll now make his way through the final chicane and past the Wall of Champions one more time. Venom now makes his way through. I thought he was going to go through there at 60 kilometers per hour. I thought, why not? But here comes Venom then, weaving his way through to win the second social race here in TT Masters League at the Canadian Grand Prix. Dominant drive from Venom there as he takes the win here in Canada. Sway then is going to make his way towards the line, but we'll have to wait and see what the penalties are going to be like. Sway making his way towards the line. He'll finish second on track, but of course, what's going to happen here then as the Alfa Romeo takes second place. Vic Mill then coming across the line in third place on the set of those soft tyres towards the end, but we've still got Scuba and Cam heading towards the line now. Scuba will finish 4th on track. Will he stay there? Yes, he will. For now, Wesker now heading towards the line. He stays where he is, and Charlie jumps all the way up to 4th place through penalties there. That is the difference there. As you can see, J. Cole now 5th, Scuba in 6th. With Cam in 7th, Wesker 8th, and Zero will be making his way towards the line at some point. He's just making his way now down the back straight, but he is the last person to take the checkered flag. He's going to finish in 9th place and be the last of the finishers on the lead lap. He's making his way through that final chicane and towards that start-finish line. But your race winner here for the second social race of the TT Masters League, Venom wins by almost half a minute.
Was it ever in doubt after start? Well, who knows? Well, very comfortable for Venom, absolutely in control. As you know, it looked like he just looked, even going on board and qualifying, he just looked so on top of everything, even on say mediums, and that translated very much to the race. A very deserved win for Venom. His pace very, very evident if tonight shows to be taken into account.
Absolutely, and the in-game fans have voted for Vic Mill as driver of the day. I think he thoroughly deserves it as well. Third place for him, and a strategy there of medium, medium, soft really helped him towards the order towards the end of that race. But there is your race winner in MCR Venom, who's dominated today.
Thoroughly deserved. Vic Mill, very solid drive, kept his nose pretty clean as others got damage around him. He prevailed. You can see the penalties show the extent of the damage, so to speak. Charlie then jumping all the way up to fourth, a very blessed 44 seconds behind the race winner in Venom.
Oh, I like that one. But here are your official, unofficial results then for the second social race. It is Venom who wins the race from Sway and Vic Mill in third place. Starting from 11th place, Charlie in fourth with J. Cole fifth and Scuba in sixth, making the one-stop work a treat there at the end of the race. Cam in seventh with Wesker in eighth, Zero ninth, and Isotopic rounds out the top 10. It's Scoreboy in 11th with Trap, Kelvin, Chubbs, Miles, Caesar and Storm and Jono all not finishing the race. Fastest up of the race went to Coreboy with a 1:10.445. So that was nice for him. And that does it for the second social race. Obviously, make sure you are following or at least subscribing to the channel down below. Hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we go live. And of course, we'll go through the Twitters in a moment. But Graham, first time with me, first time on a brand new game in the commentary box. You confident for Division 4 now?
I feel a little better about it, for sure. That was good. I think once you get started, it's not too bad. But yeah, that was an enjoyable race. Certainly action-packed, as we were hoping to be fair.
Absolutely, and hopefully you'll be joining us for what will be the evaluation races next week. So go follow the league on Twitter, should be on the screen now, at TTML_F1. Make sure you go and follow them as well, and they'll keep you up to date with all the streams that are happening next week, including all of the evaluation races. Well, that about does it here for the second social race. There's nothing else to say other than we look forward to seeing you at the evaluation race. And Graham, it's been a pleasure to be alongside you tonight.
Pleasure's been mine. Thank you so much.
Well, hopefully we will see you next time here in TTML. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
And I've been Graham Chappell.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.